3, 2, 1,
jingle! Happy time has just begun. Brother, sister, smart, dumb, fun. Yeah!
Oh, it's time. It's Sunday. We're live. That's right. We have a special guest with us. She's right here with us right now. Welcome to the Brother Sisters Smart Dumb Fun. On a summery, it actually felt like summer today for the first time. I think all year. Anne, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was actually humid today. Oops, there goes my microphone. It was humid today. I worked outside. It rained most of the morning where I am. And then, I worked outside and it was like, I was like sweaty, which hasn't happened in my garden time yet. Usually the other day I was sitting out there in a stocking hat, pulling weeds and long underwear.
That is dedication.
And that was just earlier this week, like Wednesday. So
yeah, we had like a 36-degree temperature swing in like 24 hours. Because when I got up the other morning, it was like 29 degrees. And then when I got up and went outside yesterday to let the cats out, it was like 80 degrees. And it was, again, yesterday was the first day where it was genuinely humid, where I stepped outside and I was like, whoa, it's happening. So, yeah. We have Kim Toogood with us, Realtor to the stars. Kim, say hey to everybody.
Hey.
Right on. Well done.
Happy to be here, ladies.
Oh, thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're super glad to have you here. So yeah, we're talking about real estate stuff today because I would say we have entered home buying and home selling season. Not that it's not a year-round thing, but this time of year when the weather starts to warm up, it kind of starts to feel like you see more for sale signs popping up and that sort of thing. So that's why we decided to talk about that. And we know Kim from some experiences that we've had working with her over the last several years. So huzzah. So before we get started with Kim, though, we've got important information for the people that are watching, listening. As you know, we are the Brother Sisters, etc. Anne, would you like to take us through our stuff today?
I would love to. We're Anne and Janice Brothers. We are sisters. Our last name is Brothers. It's that easy. We're in our 50s, Gen X. That means we know that weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. We talk about smart stuff, dumb stuff, fun stuff, or any combination of the three. We are not cool, hip, or sexy. We know this because we have multiple well-stocked bird feeders and keep binoculars and bird identification books close at hand. So, yeah. We're not a celebrity, influencer, or true crime podcast because we are always a surprise. We've been told we're good to listen to when you want to learn things about stuff. There you go. And you need a laugh. Sometimes you just need to laugh. We've also been told that if you start an episode, it's hard to stop because even though you think you're not interested in the topic, you will find it too interesting to stop listening. This podcast is not G, PG, or even PG-13, which makes it much more interesting. And you can join us on our website. You can join us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Like us, follow us, hit the bell, leave us a review, all the thumbs up, 5 stars, etc. Give us your feedback with our Q&A and our polls. And of course, if you can't figure out where to find us, just ask Alexa and she will play us.
Yeah, she will. Because, we're like this now. We're tight.
Exactly. Well, so, Alexa's cool that way. So
that's right. She's cool like that. I find myself asking for her approval. Actually, what I find myself doing as I get older and can remember less things, I find that I've just started using her as my personal assistant. Like I constantly am setting reminders for myself. I'm like, Alexa, remind me to do this, or remind me to do that. And then she does. I love it.
So smart.
She is smart. She's and I think I'm getting stupider by the minute every time I ask her to help me. Instead of just remembering stuff myself, I just ask her to do it. So, yes. I was thinking back, Anne. I remember really working to get the weebles to fall down when I was a little girl, like literally firing them across the room as hard as I could to see if it would in fact not fall down. And every time they got right back up.
Yeah,
What?
they pop right back up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mhm.
So, do they still make weebles?
Yeah, they do, and they're like um fancier. Like these just look like eggs with painted faces on them. Now they have like, they're more three-dimensional features. They're quite fancy.
Hmm, must be
Mhm.
nice.
I
Okay.
know. Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Classic weeble. All right. All right. So, Anne, let's talk about some of the fun or dumb or cool stuff that happened this week. Why don't you go ahead and tell us your stuff?
Okay, so I did a smart fun thing this week, and I took this is okay. So there's a Journey Bead program, and it's a partnership with Glass Art Kalamazoo and Brunson Hospital. And what they do is the Glass Art Kalamazoo artists make journey beads, and then they're distributed to children who have cancer or blood disorders or are being treated for burns. And every time they hit a milestone or they go through a procedure, they get another bead. And then that bead is added to a necklace. And then when they're finished with their treatments, or then they have this three-dimensional example of their journey through this process. And this has been going on for, I think, like almost 12 years. But I finally finished my training and did my first volunteer program, and I made beads for their Journey Bead program. Now like literally I have like 20 hours of experience, which is nothing. So I spent my 4 hours making round beads, which can be harder than it looks. I made a bunch of red beads and some green beads, and I was making, diligently making my little round beads. And the woman next to me, Martha, was making duck beads.
Wait, like actual ducks?
Yeah, they looked exactly like ducks. And I was like, I made a round bead. So
Good
yeah,
job making round beads and brothers.
exactly.
You're
So I was
amazing.
very excited. I've been taking classes now for about 6 months. I finally got enough hours in that I got to go and do this, and I'm hoping going to be able to do it at least once a month. It is on the other side of the state for me in Kalamazoo, and I live over on the southwest side or southeast side of the state. But I was very excited about that. It's an awesome program. If you get on YouTube and put in Journey Beads and Brunson Hospital, they have an excellent video that explains everything, and it will make you cry a little bit too. So that's what I did. I'm most pleased, and it is a very cool program.
That's completely awesome. Well done.
Mhm.
I did take a bead class with them, and it is shockingly hard to make round beads. But the thing is, Anne, they need round beads. They need round beads all the time. So
Yeah, the first class we took, I think I made something that resembled a duck. I just don't remember how I did it. And it was totally by accident.
nice. I love that.
Mhm.
Well done. Uh, I focused this week on the smart stuff. We had some amazing storms this week in the Midwest. We had a huge storm system. That's kind of the storm system that touched Michigan last night and a little bit this morning. But this has been officially a humdinger, maybe one of the worst ones we've seen so far. So the storm system has been essentially wreaking havoc, especially along Nebraska, Iowa, that little I-80 corridor. Dozens of tornadoes across Nebraska, Iowa, Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas. And this storm system produced a line of very powerful storms in northern Michigan last night. So the picture you see with the tornado, that's actually I-80 right outside of Lincoln, Nebraska. Driven that stretch a bazillion times.
Mhm.
And so that's just one of their cameras right along I-80 there picked up this pretty large tornado, and there were several right in that area that pretty much just wrecked parts of Lincoln and Omaha. So, and then the picture on the right is courtesy of Michigan Storm Chasers. This is a golf ball size hail that came out of Onekama, a storm that dropped across Onekama last night, and that's the second time I've seen humongous hail. You don't think of northern Michigan as being a
Mm.
big hail spot, but they get these storms that gain strength along. They come across along Wisconsin. they gain a little bit of energy from Lake Michigan because Lake Michigan's starting to warm up, and then they produce some humdingers. But anyway, that's golf ball sized hail out of Onikema. Again, Onikema, we used to spend a lot of time there when we were kids, camping and stuff. So that is, I see that hailstone. I'm just super glad that I wasn't camping at the time that dropped on some campers, because damn, that's some bad news. So
Ouch.
yeah, just kind of that was my smart thing. I kind of followed that pretty closely this week because, again, having driven back and forth on I-80 across Nebraska and Iowa so many times over the past 30 years, I have seen some wicked storms come across there, and it's not necessarily a nice place to be because it's open. There's not a lot of shelter out there. So hopefully, I know a couple of people have been killed in these storms. So thinking about those families, and just, like I said, just have wreaked havoc on some towns in the Midwest. So yeah, it's been quite the week.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is the as you know, Anne, is the last weekend in April. This is our last April show, and I can't think of a better way to spend it than asking Kim Toogood a bunch of questions about real estate. So, Kim, welcome.
Thank
We
you.
are super glad to have you here. We know Kim. Kim actually sold me my home, and she sold our Aunt Julie's home in the fall. So, just in terms of people that I love and trust, Kim, you are one of those people. So, good job.
Thank you. I feel the
You're
same
welcome.
way.
Yay! Hey. All right, so I'm going to bring us here, and what I'm going to do, Kim, I'm just going to put some questions down at the bottom of the screen so that you can easily see those. And there we go. Number one, tell us something smart, something fun, and something dumb. Go.
Oh, wow. Was this even part of my questions? Something
Yeah.
smart, buy property now, sell property now. Something fun. Kleinstock Park here in Kalamazoo is a lovely place to walk, and that's something really fun. 50-acre forest right in the middle of Bronson, Winchell area. Blessing. I'm just down the block from that. And something dumb, really gross houses for a lot of money. They're dumb to look at. And you have to scratch your head and go, really? What agent is pricing this and how? Anyways, that's my smart, dumb, fun.
Excellent. Well done. Anne, would you like to take question two?
Well, I was just going to say that I'm glad to hear that crappy houses are going for a lot of money, because I have a moderately crappy house, and hopefully it'll get a lot of money. I don't have a crappy house. I have an old house. I have an old house that I do love, but it's old, so it was built pre-electricity and pre-indoor plumbing, which has its own, it's like, hey, look at that. I hardly have any outlets. All right.
Yeah.
I digress. Kim, what is your spirit animal?
I think Kim is frozen,
Oh, no.
so that's okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of old houses,
So
hey.
heron, it's a heron. And I was trying to get to, I was frozen in a stupid face, to give the description of a heron for my spirit animal. And I can't get to it and not freeze. So,
Okay. So your spirit animal's a heron. I love that.
yes.
That's my third favorite bird.
Yeah, I would say that's
stop
top,
it.
no,
It
that's
is.
like top 3 for me. I look, and that's one of my signs of spring is when I see a heron, and I usually will mark the day of the year that I see it. And in Colorado, it's in March, and in Minnesota, Wisconsin, it's usually April. And like early March, like late February, early March, if you're in Colorado. Here's more like mid-March. And then if you're in Wisconsin, it's April. So there you go.
There you go.
Ooh, we have a comment. Shall we see our comment? This is from Verna Stearns. She has a heron painting. So
Oh.
Yes, she does. Verna is one of my pals. She's an artist.
Yo, Verna, right on.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's I have a funky heron painting as well. I can't think of the name of the artist. It's that guy that used to own Trick Dog. Remember him? What
Oh,
was his
yeah.
name?
Here, let me ask Duncan. Maybe he remembers. Hey, Duncan.
Okay.
What the guy that owned Trick Dog? What was his name?
Sorry, what?
The guy that owned Trick Dog. Do you remember what his name was?
Jarris, something Jarris.
Something.
Jaris.
Something Jarris.
Oh, Jarvis.
Jarvis. Okay.
Jarvis, yeah. I can't think of his first name, but yeah, he has some cool, funky paintings of a heron. It's in my bedroom. It's awesome.
Mhm.
Hey, herons.
Yay.
Just a
Here,
cool bird. Beautiful. Just these cool solitary things. And when you finally find a rookery, I lived near a rookery when we lived in Wisconsin. So it was toit.
Mhm. Yeah,
Nice.
there's one over in Kensington Metro Park, which isn't too far from here. It's about an hour from here. But yeah, the first time I saw it, I was like, this is the coolest thing. So,
Awesome. All right. So we're going to actually get into some actual real estate questions now. Are you ready, Kim? Have you
I
steeled
I
yourself?
am.
Okay.
I'm going to do my
Okay.
best.
yeah, some
You're going to do awesome. All right.
hard hitting
Here we go.
questions.
Question 3. How long have you been a real estate agent / realtor? Because you are both.
Yes, I am. Realtor first, then a real estate agent. So I've been just about 8 years now, and I kick myself for not becoming a realtor earlier in my life. I absolutely love it.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I really became a realtor because I love houses. And as you both know, I love them abandoned, broken down up to a multi-million dollar house. I like how it speaks to you and tells a story of its current, its past, people from before, the current families that are there. And I like to work with people too. So it was kind of a perfect match for me.
Awesome.
Mhm.
All right. And you want question number 4?
Of course I do.
Okay.
What are the current real estate trend markets or real estate markets like in Michigan?
Prices are still going up, and there's still a lack of inventory. So we're finding that we've still got a lot of buyers, even because of the rates being back to where a normal rate used to be or is now. The people are still out shopping. We've got other folks moving into areas, larger metropolitan areas, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Detroit, Kalamazoo. We're all seeing lack of inventory and increased pricing. The I've been in, I think the last 3 buyer transactions have all been bidding wars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
Now,
yeah.
I had a quick question. Just this one just kind of popped into my head. Now, where's your market? Is there a particular market that you work in, or do you work everywhere in the state of Michigan?
I like the state of Michigan. I mean, I try and stay within maybe a 3-hour one-way trip, and that's either for buyers or sellers. I've got a pretty big population of repeat clients that come to me from all over the state, and I'm I, I don't know if I'm smart, dumb, or fun on this, but I'll go anywhere. I don't give out referrals unless they're out of state, and just chase it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm kicking myself for not calling you when we were trying to sell my parents' house down in the Sturge. So kicking myself.
Me
Daily.
too.
Well, some agents only work within their local community, and I've had agents I've met that work the Kalamazoo market that won't work over in Battle Creek, won't show homes over there or on the lake shore. Yeah,
Hmm. I guess that's a personal choice, but it seems to
it
me if
is.
you wanted to make more money, you would go more places. I mean,
Well, and that's my thought too, because I'm maybe 7 years from retiring, and I'm going to get as much in the bank as I possibly can. And if that includes traveling 3-6 hours round trip, I'll do it.
cool. What's the hottest market right now?
You mean price wise?
Just what seems to be the place in Michigan that people are really interested in?
My main focus is Kalamazoo, so I'm going to say Kalamazoo, but I know Grand Rapids is on fire. And Traverse City is too. You're going to see in Traverse City. I've got friends and agents that are up there, and that's on fire too, because people are wanting those second homes in a beautiful area.
Nice. Now, have you seen the real estate market pick up in Kalamazoo? Sorry, that was
I
me. That's my
get
neighbor.
well, there was only a little bit of a flat spot, I think, when the rates began to go up. And now that they've kind of plateaued, then people are back buying. But I didn't really see. I feel like I'm pretty consistent year round. I'm not affected by the snow or the spring or the summer. And I know some folks or agents are having a tough year. I'm having a great year.
Cool.
I don't,
So let me
I
ask
don't
you
know.
this: if you are a young home buyer and you're looking for a market where things are really affordable, what would you tell people?
Oh, that's a good question. Where's your job? I mean, and what's your threshold for commuting? Um, if you're in Kalamazoo, then we're just going to put a 30-mile radius around it. Um, and,
Well, let's say you're
and
virtual.
find
Let's say
that.
you could live. Let's say you could live anywhere you want in the state of Michigan.
Me?
I'm just anybody. Just let's say you have some flexibility of where you could buy. What's a place that's affordable for people right now?
That's a really good question. Um, I would say Battle Creek. And the reason the houses are still very affordable, there's still great pockets of areas in that community that are really nice. Can't figure out why their taxes are so darn high. It's terrible. But the houses are pretty nice and affordable.
Cool.
And that's still a tight enough commute to Kalamazoo
Mhm.
where somebody can maybe get 30% more house than they would in Kalamazoo for the same money.
Love it. That's
Okay.
cool. All right.
Mhm.
All right. Question number 5. When buying or selling a home, why is it important to work with an agent?
Well, there's a lot to navigate. And I think about when I was a home buyer before I got into real estate, I just relied on my agent for everything. You tell me when and how, and I'm going to show up. And um, but there's so much to it. As a buyer, who are you going to go with for lending and financing? As an agent, you can help them with guiding them to the right lenders and right programs, because first time buyers, there's a MISHDA program, which is Michigan Down Payment Assistance Program, that'll lend up to an additional $10,000 towards your down payment to buy a house. Now, it's not free money. When you sell the house, that needs to be paid back, but it allows a young buyer to be able to afford a house, because a lot of folks don't have that big down payment. And without an agent, maybe you're not going to know that.
Mhm.
And you're not
Yeah.
going to know
Yeah.
how to strategically negotiate on a property or where to find the property. What's pending mean? What's under contract mean? Can I still put an offer? It's I think it's along the lines of being your own attorney. If you're not an attorney, even if you are an attorney, don't do it. If you're going to buy a house, have a realtor take care of you. And if you find that realtor isn't meshing with you, or you don't match, or you're not feeling like they're really looking for your best interest, if you can fire them, get another agent, get somebody that's going to really take care of you and have your fiduciary responsibility as theirs. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I kind of think of it as like there's certain jobs I don't do myself. Like I don't drill my own teeth. I don't do my own taxes, and I have help when I have to buy and or sell a home. So because there's so much I don't know that
That's
I
right.
feel like it's much better to have somebody in my corner who knows all the minutia that I have.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. It's like a different language. That's what when we bought here in Kalamazoo, it's like this is a different language that I don't speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
for
is.
sure.
And it's interesting how people say, oh, realtors have it so easy. It's kind of like eyes behind the curtain, because you don't know how much is involved in keeping contracts together, working with inspectors, appraisers, the lender, the title company. All these things are constantly in play as the buyer hopefully is, kind of bouncing along. I'm excited. I'm going towards my new house, and not knowing, all the things that are coming together to make that happen. And I like it to seem seamless. That's for my buyers. I want it to be seamless.
Cool.
And sellers.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you make it look easy, nobody realizes how hard it is.
Exactly.
Well, to me though, the process is sort of kind of stressful enough where I can't even imagine trying to do it by myself, because you're worried about so many other little different things. Like we were coming from Wisconsin to Kalamazoo, so just the idea of having somebody look out for me while I was just trying to get my job finished and get moved, which was arduous enough without having to figure out how to buy a house too, especially 500 miles away.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story.
I mean, just even number one, finding the house and making sure that it's a nice house for the family. And as an agent, if you see red flags in a foundation or a roof or an electrical box, those are things that you're going to bring up to your buyer before they spend $350 on an inspector, right? And let's be aware of the big stuff. And also in negotiating. Holy cow. If you're competing against 2, 3, 4 other buyers, what's going to be your negotiation plan? And as an individual, if I were out shopping for a house and think, hey, I'm going to put in an offer on my own, I would have no idea what's an escalation clause, what's an appraisal gap, what a delayed possession, what are all these things? You need an agent for that.
Words that I learned with Kim and my cousin Marcus. No, and that's that's the thing that was so helpful that you did, that was super helpful, is that the house, when we bid on this house, we were one of, I think, a dozen offers on this house, and just the advice that you gave us in terms of, this is what you're probably going to want to put down, this is what you're going to maybe put together for an appraisal gap, you should write this letter, and all of that information was pivotal in us being able to land this house. I mean, I think we got really lucky. So, and again, for those of you that don't know the story, I bought my house sight unseen. My realtor, Kim, and my sister, Ann, came and looked at the house and said, yeah, you should try for this house, because, and that just tells you that, that in terms of being able to trust your realtor, and like you said earlier, being able to mesh with your realtor becomes such an important thing that you have to do. So,
yeah.
And I have to say, learning those terms from you, actually, I learned them from Jenny, who learned them from you. We were able to scare away the first people that put a bid on my parents' house because it was woefully inadequate. And we were able to we were like, okay, this is what we want. We want, this much money up front. We want this appraisal gap. We want blah, blah, blah. And they ran. And my parents were so mad at us. But then 4 days later, we got them a much better offer.
Yay. Good.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, we have you to thank for that, Kim. Wait, here comes a comment. This is from Nancy Garman. Nancy in the house. Nancy says, how does a homeowner go about getting an appraisal on your home, and how much can that cost? That's a fantastic question, Nancy. Thank you.
Yeah, Nancy, if you're looking for a current market value on a home, you can get a hold of a realtor in your area and they can give you a market value. That's not going to be the same as an appraisal. You can get a hold of any, like here in the Kalamazoo area, we have Greater Kalamazoo Area Realtor Association, and they've got a whole list of appraisers that you can call, and they can ask for a residential and let them know what the appraisal's for. Is it for an estate? Is it for a new home loan or a refi, or because you're selling it? Because those are 3 different numbers, which seems really strange, but they are. And I think you're about $600 for an appraisal, an official appraisal.
What was the name of that organization again, Kim? I'll throw it on the
GCAR here in Kalamazoo. It's Greater Area Realtor Association. Greater Kalamazoo area.
Relator Kim. Oh, see, I got it. There it is. Association of Realtors. I'm going to go ahead and throw that on there. So if anybody is interested, yeah, there's it's that's pretty straightforward. gcar.com.
Yep.
I'll just throw that in the comments here so everybody can have a look. Yeah, I'll throw that in. Boop. All right. So for anybody's looking at Nancy, that's what you're looking for. www.gkir.com. And I think hopefully you will find that useful, Nancy. Awesome. All right. That's a really great question. And again, you guys, anybody that's watching, if you have questions and you want to throw them in there, Kim, if you're okay answering those, we'll have people ask questions if they have them.
I'll do my level best.
Right on. In the meantime, Anne, would you like question 6?
How have the laws regarding agents recently changed?
So the laws have changed in a matter of making sure that there's full disclosure. And it surprises me that not everybody had a buyer agency agreement, or that when you're filling out a listing agreement, making it clear with your seller that that part of your commission is going to go to a buyer's agent if I don't bring the buyer. So it's really not a law change more than it is disclosure. And on the if you want to go with a law change on the MLS now, so that's a multiple listing service, it doesn't identify how much a buyer's agent is going to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
It used to show that, you're going to get 2.5% or 3%, 3.5% on some cases. So a buyer's agent would know, hey, I'm going to get paid. The way the transactions are working now, and it's always been this way, but it's a matter of disclosure. Sellers don't necessarily have to contribute towards a buyer's commission. So they can say, we're only going to pay the listing agent. We're not going to pay a buyer's agent. Well, they're not really paying the buyer's agent because the listing agent is paying the buyer's agent. So I get X amount of commission, whether it be 5, 6%, whatever I negotiated with the seller, and I'm going to split that with the buyer's agent.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If I bring a client in, I get all the money.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get into a dual agency agreement, and that's even more complicated. But moral to the story is disclosure all the way through. And one of the things initially that agents were getting up in the air about is feeling like we weren't going to get paid at all as a buyer's agent, that the sellers weren't going to pay us.
Mm-hmm.
Sellers want everybody to bring a buyer to the party, right? Not just one agent. And by paying buyer's agents, they're going to bring their clients, their repeat referral base, their new clients in to see your house. And you want as many soldiers working for you as possible. So that's what's changed. They're not going to disclose on the MLS how a buyer's agent's getting paid. And disclosure. Make sure everybody knows.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Okay. Question number 7. Tell us an interesting story about being an agent.
An interesting story about being an agent, or interesting story with houses? So I'll tell you a funny story I was thinking about today. I have a client, and I've done 3 transactions with him and soon to do my 4th. But on my first one with we'd been shopping all over Kalamazoo trying to find just the perfect house. And we had an evening showing, and it was, hey, maybe it's end of summer. And the listing agent had told me, hey, Kim, there's a bat in the garage. And I said, no, it's not going to be a big deal. It's that time of the, it's not late enough. That bat's going to be up hanging out, doing his own thing. Until the husband and I went into the garage. Whew, whew, that bat's flying all around. I darted out of that garage and slammed the door behind me, leaving the husband in the garage with the barn. And I had the flashlight, or in the garage, and I had the flashlight. It's stupid. I know it's really stupid, but he and I and his wife still laugh like crazy about that. It was kind of dumb.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This year I had an interesting experience. End of last year, working at a hoarder house, working with an estate.
Ooh.
And
Tell me about that. Talk to that. That's yeah. Oof.
Yeah. So the trustee came to me and said, "Hey, I've got my aunt and uncle's house. I'm managing the estate. I haven't been in there since June. Had a big problem with feral cats and fleas. We bombed it, shut the doors, and this is December when I'm speaking with her. So they haven't been in the house at all. And so it wasn't only a cat hoard, it was every piece of paper they've ever touched, clothing hoard, and a smoker. And there were piles and piles of clothes and papers. And I found a dead cat in there when I was rummaging through the clothes, trying to clear it out. Family told me there was jewelry in there. And so, before my clean out crew comes in, I want to find anything valuable and get it back to the family. And it was just unbelievable. But after about, I set a goal for myself to have the house ready by February 15th. That was giving me 8 weeks to completely tear it up, put the new flooring, paint, walls, get it cleaned up, ready to go. And I was able to do that. And by the grace of God, the neighbor who'd been watching all the progress, I introduced myself right away and said, "Hey, this is what's going on." She brought a coworker of hers to buy it. And she actually bought it and closed on it before I was even done with the property.
Awesome.
So
Nice.
it worked out really well for the family. And I get a little consumed by those things because once I'm on it, I'm going to focus on it until it's done. And yeah. And I'll look for more of those. I'll definitely look for more of those.
Well,
sure.
A little higher. I negotiated a little higher commission because there was a whole lot of free labor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
Well, and it just
Definitely.
shows you, I guess, how tight the market is that, here's a house that needed a ton of work and, somebody was willing to buy it before it was even all cleaned up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's, that just says right there that, it's the market's tight. Hey, my neighbor, and then of course it also is like, get to know everybody in the neighborhood because they might make your job easier for you, without you even realizing it.
Yeah, exactly. And they were really kind.
It's cool. That's cool. Hey, Nancy has another question. She said, what should a person look for in the economy when they need to sell their house, but also wanting to buy a condominium? A balance needs to be reached, it seems.
One more time. What should a person look for in the economy? I think I'm maybe a little narrow-minded on this, but I think you need to look at your own personal financial economy more so than what's happening on the outside, because you need to know what you can afford in your next house, and also home starts and values are just year after year after year continuing to raise. So if you're
yeah, and I would speak to that, Nancy. I think one of the best ways to learn about in terms of the economy is to contact a realtor and learn what the comps are in your area. So that was a big one when we were looking at buying this house, looking just what's it like comparably, and those comps are, I think, a really big deal. So
Absolutely.
that would be my advice. Would be if you're curious, there's no harm in reaching out to a realtor and asking those questions.
Yep.
As far as setting the value of your home and trying to whether you're buying a condo here or down in Florida or whatever. But that would be seems to me that's what you might want to think about.
Yeah. First things first.
Yep. So, go Nancy, get a condo, get a condo.
And you can send
Right.
me an
So
email as well, Nancy, and I can help you guide through that. I'm happy to help.
sure. Also, we will be putting Kim's contact information up towards the end. So if you are with us and you're interested in learning more about Kim or how to get a hold of her, we will have that for you.
Yeah.
So huzzah! All right, I think that takes us to question 8. How do you get paid?
Yeah, commission only, baby. So I get paid when I sell a property. Usually it's anywhere between 2 and 3%, depending on what the listing agent has set up with their sellers. And then as a listing agent, I'll get paid a percentage of the selling price of the house. And it's the same as a buyer's agent. It's a percentage of the selling price of the house. So it's $100,000 house, 3% of that, you're going to get $3,000. And of that $3,000, your broker's going to get a percentage of that. You've got dues you need and subscriptions that you need to pay. You got to pay for your car, your insurance, your advertising, all kinds of stuff comes out of that commission. So it looks like, oh, hey, I'm making easy money. Well, a lot of it's going right back out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I look at that hoarder house that you did. I would say that was anything but easy money.
Mm-hmm.
No, that wasn't. That was definitely not easy money.
Nancy said, "I do not want to do leaves ever again."
Oh, that's a really good reason to get a condo.
That is, it's like, let's go get a condo because then
No
somebody else
leaves or
will do the
snow.
yard. No
No
leaves,
leaves.
no snow, no mowing, none of that.
Mm-hmm.
Smart. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what people don't realize is that when you're a realtor, you really are kind of on your own as far as taking care of everything that needs to be taken care of. And like anything, it's like anything. There's what we think we know about a profession, and then there's what really goes into that profession. So, and that's not just that's anything you do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
You only show a small amount of your hand as far as what you're up to. So,
Yeah. And
yep.
as a realtor, you are self-employed. You get paid on a 1099.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get health insurance as a benefit. Typically, there's not any kind of a 401k or an IRA associated with an employer contribution. We're fortunate with Century 21, they will match some of the agents' contributions, which is unheard of. So Century 21 affiliated, go.
Good job, you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
So, as a realtor, run down a list of things that you do.
Okay. So, yeah, good. So typically, first thing I'm going to do in the morning is I'm going to look at the hot sheet and see what's new on the market, what's already sold, how much did it sell for based on what its asking price was, how long did it stay on the market. I'm going to look at pendings and back on the market because of maybe an inspection or whatever the reason was that it got back on the market. And I'm doing this not only for knowledge of our local market, but also if I have clients that are in the midst of shopping, we want to see that property as soon as it comes on market because it moves so fast.
Right.
So today I showed a house. I worked out getting a lender aligned with a buyer, worked out going through a home inspection that we need to go back and ask for the seller to contribute towards repairs. And another, I'm going to be talking to an agent about putting an offer together, and that's a Sunday. But there's meetings, we have to continue our education, we have to continue prospecting. My best prospecting is going through repeat and referral. And though then you're showing houses, you're listing houses, you're doing presentations. Yeah. I feel like I could work 10 hours a day every day. And if I'm not either generating business, I am busy with a client. And I like that.
Cool. What's going on over there, Ann? What are you doing?
Nothing, knocking everything over. Gravity's amazing.
Gravity is doing its thing. All right, so that brings us to question number 10. What advice would you give to anybody either buying or selling a house?
When you're selling, if you can take your emotions out of it and have realistic expectations of prices and how long it's going to take, what the process is, but to be patient. And with a buyer, have everything ready before you go out. Get your pre-approval in place. Hammer it down with your lender. Shop for houses within your price range, not above your price range, because then you're going to go back to what you can afford and be really disappointed. So let's start where you can.
Ooh, I have a question.
Yeah.
So as far as how much you should be spending on a house, what's your advice in terms of what percentage of your income should you be paying out every month for your mortgage?
30%.
Okay.
30%. Yep. And that's including your taxes, your insurance. That's my opinion. Some lenders may give you more than that, but I personally don't think that's realistic to give up more than 30% of your income for your housing. Yeah, and as a buyer, you're not going to find the absolute perfect house, but you need to figure out what things you're willing to compromise on. And yeah, and be prepared for negotiations. And you may not get the first house you put an offer in. I always tell my clients, we're putting an offer in, we're going to be up against other people. I do not want you rearranging furniture in your head in that house yet.
Don't move in yet.
Yeah, don't see where anything's going to be. And
that's so hard.
I know sometimes you'll put in 3 or 4 offers before you get one accepted. And I've heard of even higher numbers than that. But that's also part of having a good agent that's going to help negotiate. What are the hot buttons for the seller that we need to be aware of so that I can write our buyer's offer up to meet those. And that's
Cool.
Communicating with other agents and having those relationships with them.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's an emotional roller coaster, and I would consider like our Joe and I's process. I think we only put 3 offers in, and we got the third one accepted. But that's still, and that was in that post-COVID market that was starting to get a little bit crazy. So I feel like we got super lucky. But again, it is an emotional roller coaster, and I think that's great advice. Just don't get too attached and which is tough because there was one house that we looked at that I was mentally moving in. I think it was that one of the first ones that we put an offer on. And the dumb thing was that house was way too expensive for us too. So
yeah. Well, and sometimes you can get approved for a whole lot more house than you're comfortable with buying. And keep that in mind. Just because they say you can buy $500,000 doesn't mean you want to pay for a $500,000 house.
No. Our bank was like, we'll be happy to loan you way more money, and I was like, no, we don't need more. Absolutely.
Live within your means for sure.
Yeah.
And the other thing, so Kim, I hope you don't mind if I ask, but we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. What happened with the squatter house?
Oh,
Kim left.
She left. Triggered.
Oh no, Kim is frozen. Sorry,
she's
Kim.
frozen. So anyway, backstory. Kim was just kind of telling me about a situation where it was this house where the guy that was selling it didn't want to leave.
Or his ex-wife was selling it.
That's right.
He didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
so
like,
if
what
somebody's
happened?
squatting in a house that you want to buy, that's not the house you want.
Don't buy that house. Do not put an offer. Don't put earnest money down on that.
Mm-mm,
So
mm-mm.
yeah,
It's
because
really
that's
super hard to get somebody out of a house that doesn't want to go.
yes,
You literally have to go to court. You have to go to
yes,
court, and it could take months for it to
yes.
happen. So,
We were just talking about the squatter house while you were gone. So you're back now.
Yeah,
Now I don't know what
sorry,
you
my
can
phone
say,
rang.
and if this is something you can't talk about, it's okay. I just was super curious about
mhm.
what happened with the squatter
Which
house.
house?
Okay, so you were talking about the guy that was divorced, and he
Oh,
that couple were
right.
like going to buy the house, and he was still in it, and he wasn't
Oh my
supposed to be
God.
anymore. And
That was a tough one. So we did close on it this week.
Mhm.
And there was the listing agent was a miracle worker. She actually ended up having to go to the house, and the guy didn't show up for closing. He's wandering about the house. She said, "You've got to go to closing. I don't have any gas in my truck." She said, "I'm going to follow you to the gas station." She gassed up his truck and then walked him into the title agency to sign off. It, but the whole time he was just feeling like, "Hey, sorry, I had to come out into the dog area." Um, but
hey,
the
Manny,
agent was a rock star, the listing agent, by getting everything put together. And my buyers didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. And I really didn't want them to know that, oh, the state police were involved trying to get the guy out of the house, that there's an eviction notice from the judge and all this stuff. I just wanted to get to our final inspection and have the house be clean and ready. And it was.
okay,
But
so if there was ever a story to heed when you're thinking
Mhm.
about buying or selling a house without a realtor, I want you to think of this story of what had to happen for this to happen. And like you said, you had an agent that was a miracle worker. And
yeah,
now imagine trying to do that with somebody without not knowing how to go through that process of
yeah. Like as a first
nope,
time buyer going to a for sale by owner.
Mm.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's nothing but a crime waiting to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah, it feels like
Very
crime waiting
seldom
to
does
happen.
that ever end up to be a good thing for a
Work
buyer.
out.
Yeah, and I get why people are like, well, I don't want to pay that commission. I don't want to pay that commission. But can you imagine what these people would have put out if they would have tried, just in terms of money, just to go to court alone to
Yeah,
remove him from the
Mhm.
house?
that's
What
right.
that would have cost them?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it ended up to be they were absolutely thrilled, and it turned out to be fine. I gotta let the dog out now.
Hi,
See,
Manny.
I
That's okay. Good.
emerged from my quiet place.
That's okay. You do that. I'm gonna jump back on here, and I'm gonna add this to the stage real quick. So we are talking to Kim Toogood, real estate agent extraordinaire. If you're
Mhm.
interested in knowing more about Kim, this is some information. She is with Century 21 affiliated down in /Kalamazoo/Portage. Her digits 269-598-0857, and at Kimberly Toogood at yahoo.com. These are all ways that you can get a hold of her. You can also just Google her, Kim
Mhm.
Toogood Realtor, and her face pops up on the Century 21 affiliated site. And you
Right
can
up.
get all of her digits and her license number
Mhm.
and all that sort of good stuff. So she's
Mhm.
easy to find. And again, just a really, I'm going to say, super excellent at what she does, and made the process for both Joe and I buying and selling in Kalamazoo, and then after our Aunt Julie passed, just doing a really wonderful job of helping us, navigate that,
Mhm.
because that sucked. So
Mhm. Yeah, and and the thing is, even if you're not in Kalamazoo or the Portage area, Kim will go wherever you are. So you
Just
know
keep it in Michigan. Keep it in Michigan.
exactly. If you're somewhere in Michigan and you need an exceptionally good realtor, Kim
Thank
Toogood,
you.
she will come to you.
Thank you.
that is
Mhm.
indeedly true. Kim, just so you know, just for being on the show today, we've got a tote bag and some stickers just waiting for you. And
Really? All
yes,
right. I'm going to see you
yes,
this week, some point.
totally, totally.
Yeah.
So
And I'm going to get
yeah,
it from you.
that's right. Tote
Will
bag
it
that
have
you
a
can put.
heron sticker in it?
No, but it will have brother sister stickers. I can see if I can
Perfect.
find you a Heron sticker.
Yeah, I might be able to find one. I love stickers.
Cool.
Hi, Duncan.
Hi, Duncan. Anyway, Kim Toogood, Century 21 affiliated. And if you missed the show and you want to get this information, you can always email the brothers, sisters, and we can get you that information as well.
Mhm.
Sneak peek at next week. Chickens. Ann Brothers has received her yearly allotment of chickens.
Mhm.
And she's going to be talking now. Ann, I have an important question. Will the chickens be on the show?
Well, they are not. They're not cooperative guests. But I will have at least pictures, and maybe I can take, like, if I do the broadcast on my phone, maybe I can take my phone out to their brooder out in our breezeway, and you can get a live look at them. But they are super cute, but they are not excited about being handled and or being on a podcast.
I think you should just start chicken cam.
It's so funny because like they'll be super active, like running all around, and then they face plant, like boom, asleep. Like it happens so fast. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna settle down and do all this. Like
chickens. So next week, Ann will be talking about chickens. We've got a pretty packed May. We're still kind of deciding on a few things. Mother's Day falls into in a couple of weeks. We won't be having a show that day, but we will be recording a show that week anyway. So we'll get to that. So just know that next week is Chicken Week on the Brothers Sisters. That picture that you picked out for the chicken, Ann, that chicken looks aggressive.
She's just she doesn't put up with any crap. It's like they're tiny velociraptors. So there you go. Just like,
I know.
Don't screw with me.
When you look into the eyes of a chicken, you see the ghost of dinosaurs past.
Exactly.
I know, right? That was poetic.
Exactly.
It was beautiful. Don't forget, you guys, you can support the Brothers Sisters for free. You can simply like us, subscribe, and we're gonna have a May media blitz as far as Brothers Sisters stuff. So we're gonna be asking some favors of some people. Share us, like us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, all of those. I noticed that we have our least following on Amazon because nobody thinks of Amazon for podcasts. But you can Amazon podcast. You can find us there if that's your jam. Most people are doing the Spotify or the iHeartRadio or the Apple Podcast. That's cool too. You can find us on all of those things. And again, you guys, it costs you nothing to follow us, to tell people to follow us. Even if you don't follow us that much, you can always answer our questions, interact with our stuff and junk. So anyway, you should do that. So there you go. All right. I think that's going to bring us to the end of the show.
Thank you for having me, ladies.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was it's something that people always have questions about. You're like, hey, is this a dumb question? No, it's not. Ask. This is it is the biggest purchase you make and probably the biggest thing you're going to sell. So have somebody help you do it. Have Kim Toogood help you do it.
Correct. That is correct.
I love that shameless advertising. Thank you.
Exactly.
Don't be. Again, we've been told that it's okay to be shameless when you're promoting yourself. So don't be shameless in promoting yourself, Kim. It's good. We're glad to do it. I was going to ask one more thing, but now it's all gone. It doesn't matter. I'll think of it later. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and put on our music.
Our music by Max Caselli, graduate from Western Michigan University yesterday. It's Max for this music.
For some reason, I'm having trouble hearing you, Ann. Anyway, if you didn't hear what Ann just said, she just said Max Caselli just graduated from Western Michigan University yesterday.
On Saturday.
That's right.
Good job, Max. Thanks for the music.
Right. Indeed. All right, guys, you've been listening, watching the Brothers Sisters Smart Dumb Fun with Kim Toogood, special guest.
Thank you.
Say goodbye, everybody. This is Janice Brothers with me, as always, is
Ann Brothers.
Right on. All right, guys. Peace and out.